Do you feel like you're barely keeping your head above water? That no matter how hard you try, meaningful progress remains out of reach? Heather gets that. She battled an eating disorder for years before seeking help. Now in recovery, Heather is here to tell you that positive change is possible even when it doesn't feel that way. Join her as she shares openly about her struggles and small triumphs. Fair warning though, Heather doesn't hold back. Her candid story may trigger some. But for those wanting honesty, hope, and healing, this is 1% Better with Heather. The information and stories shared on 1% Better are based on host Heather's personal experiences with eating disorders and mental health challenges. Heather is not a licensed doctor, therapist, dietitian, or other health professional. Her advice and opinions should not be taken as professional medical advice. Please consult your physician or a qualified health provider regarding any medical or health-related issues. 1% Better also contains descriptions of eating disorders that may be triggering for some listeners. Discretion is advised.
Hey there, my little gaffers, and welcome to the 1% Better podcast. In the studio today, I have Emily with me. Hello, Emily.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. And I'm very thankful that you are here.
Thank you so much.
We have another. Oh, no, I really do appreciate it. And we have another expert, a guide. I love it when experts come on and tell us how to fix our life. Fix me, damn it. Here. All right. So, my friend, introduce yourself.
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Emily. I am a certified productivity life coach. A lot of people know what a productivity coach is. A lot of people know what a life coach is. Not a lot of people know what a productivity life coach is. And so I really just mesh the two. I strongly believe that you cannot have professional development without first working on your personal development. And I've lived that out in my own life as well. And so I really help a lot of women overcome mindset hurdles. So that way they can actually boost their productivity, but so they can also live the work from home lifestyle that they really dream of living. And so that's my focus. I have coaching programs, an online course, a blog, text messages that I send you for quick tips and tools, and the whole thing. So that is what I do.
And how did you get into that line of work? Like, what brought you there?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, a really windy road. I originally was wedding planning, actually, all throughout high school and college. And then I graduated from my university in 2020. So, right into the pandemic and lockdown when that all was starting. And so I decided to pivot and to just start freelancing out social media services. So that way I could start making money and actually support myself as a recent college graduate. And through that journey, I realized that a lot of my freelancing clients who were entrepreneurs did not have work-life balance, did not practice productivity the way I viewed it, the way I always practiced it in my own life, and were really struggling to understand their priorities, to have a vision for the future, to actually be effective and efficient, which is what I believe productivity really is. And so I just naturally started coaching my freelancing clients. And one of my clients was like, hey, you've helped me so much. Like, you should really start a coaching business doing this. And then the productivity flow was born, and I have been coaching ever since.
So, we were talking off camera a bit about social media.
Mm-hmm.
And I have my thoughts about it. I think this is why people are so scattered now. Like, there's so much information coming at them so quickly.
Yeah.
And the role of being perfect, look at like perfect lighting, perfect makeup, perfect outfit, perfect body. It's all a bunch of bullshit. None of that's true, but not everyone is cynical as me. So a lot of people think it is true. How do we look through the bullshit and not compare ourselves? Because even if you're not on social media as a mom, you can like your kid will be like, well, Tommy's mom made 12 cupcakes last night or made 3,000 cupcakes and you just went to the store and bought them, right? Like,
No,
Like, damn it, you got fed, didn't you? But
there's this constant
know,
comparison tendency that we have. And I think it's like as social media has gotten more and more popular, it's gotten worse. I grew up with social media. I swear I had Facebook at like the age of 13 when it like came out. And when I was growing up, there was always this thing that all of the girls I knew would do where they would go do photo shoots just for their profile pictures, or like go compare likes and counts and like measure your coolness based on how many likes you had. And so growing up with that was really toxic. And it really kind of made me feel like I had to constantly up one another and up each other so that way I could be on top. And that mentality, especially as kids, can be so ingrained in you, and you can bring it into your adulthood. And it takes a lot of awareness, and it takes a lot of ownership, and it takes a lot of mindfulness to really understand, hey, I'm comparing right now, and there's actually no reason for me to be comparing. It's just a habit. It's just a tendency I have. So let me break this. I can break any other habit. I can break this habit. And it's about having that determination really to start doing that, because honestly, it's kind of a choice at the end of the day to really stop comparing yourself. And it's a really challenging choice to make. And it has to come out of that awareness that you're even doing it.
no, and yeah, no, it is hard because I think maybe not everybody, but I was raised that way. Like, you're constantly compared. You're compared to your sister. You're compared to your cousins. If you were a girl in my family, you're compared to everybody, right? And now, again, with social media, I can see how all these, and especially girls, are having this mental breakdown so young, because how do you keep up with that?
You can't. You literally can't, which is what leads to the mental breakdown. And I feel like I very much had my own form of breakdown. I think growing up with social media, and then when I was younger, I was definitely on the chubbier side, and I was made fun of for being chubby all of the time. And so when social media became a really big thing, I really focused on trying to lose weight and trying to just make myself as pretty as everyone else on social media and in my high school and in my school. And that eventually led to anorexia. And in college, I ended up being 80 pounds and really unhealthy and just having to work out of that. I honestly, it felt like this all stemmed from this comparison tendency that we have that was really ingrained in me as a kid.
And if you don't mind, let's talk a little bit more about that, because I understand that. I grew up very chunky and very heavy. I was heavy up until I was 22 years old, lost 100 pounds safely, kept it off, got in a workplace accident, everything went to hell, developed anorexia and bulimia from this accident.
Yeah.
And I wasn't far off your weight, and I'm 5'10", and I was put in the hospital and everything. I wouldn't say it was really like a social media thing, that how I got led down it. For the anorexia bulimia, the weight loss, yes.
Yeah.
But I would, yes and no, right? But
there's always so many reasons. Like, it's never one reason, you know? But I think that we can always trace back to when it kind of, the mentality maybe started. And then all of the other reasons can come pouring in and lead to anorexia, bulimia, and so many other kinds.
So many other.
Yeah.
Well, and it's such a snowball, right? Like, you start off with a little snowball, and then it's bigger and bigger. Now it's an avalanche, and you can't stop an avalanche, even though you think you can. You can't.
Yeah.
And it's like too late, man. Just saying. So, from experience, it's just so hard, right? And God, I could cry thinking about it. There's just so many feelings that come flooding back, and so many, like, I can hear, and I'm sure you can too, if you've been bullied in high school or elementary school, you know those fuckers' names, and I will go to the grave hating them. I don't hate a lot of people, but damn it, there's one I'd go wear orange for, and I wouldn't say that about a lot of people.
That is so funny. I'd wear orange for. I love the way you said that. But honestly, it's so true. I think we also just, our brains naturally remember the negative way more so than we remember the positive, because the negative impacted us a lot more. And so I can definitely name the people who made my life a little bit of a living hell when I was a kid. And even throughout high school and even in college, I really had this like hatred, but also this resentment towards them. And I almost used my anorexia and losing weight and like trying to feel good about my body as a way to like give them the middle finger and say, like, look at me now, like, haha, like, who won now? And in reality, like, I didn't win. I was really unhealthy. And then like it wasn't helping me. In fact, it was really hurting me. But I had this notion in my head at the time, like, that I was winning, that I was doing it. And I don't really know where that came from. Maybe it comes back to that comparison tendency because I wanted to, you know, bully them back in a way, but it just wasn't the best way to go about it.
No, but I understand that. I totally get that. Haha.
Yeah.
Right? It's like when you break up with your ex and you have a glow up and they get some loser.
Exactly.
Whoever they're dating now is a moron, right? And you're like, haha, look at me now.
Yeah.
But people who are your bullies or exes or whatever, they have no soul anyway. So they wouldn't even get the our way of thinking. They'd just be like, well, like it just wouldn't even like get to them, which sucks even more, right?
Yeah. No, totally. And I think I also had this moment. I remember right after, I think it was late in college, one of the bullies that bullied me throughout high school, something happened in her family where it was really, really, really tragic. And I kind of had a moment of like, I almost want to say like, haha, but I actually feel so bad for you that I'm going to let everything go. And I don't need to hold on to this anymore because what you're going through now is honestly way worse. And like, there's no reason to hold on to this anymore. And so that was like a moment for me, honestly, one of the beginning moments where I felt like I started transitioning a little bit into a healthier mindset, because I was like, you know what? Like, why am I holding on to this? Like, why am I so concerned with their perception of me when their perception of themselves is obviously shit? And they don't, like, if they're not going to respect themselves, then I should not worry about it. I should worry about me and how I am being healthy and happy. And that was like a really transitioning moment for me.
And good for you, because it takes a long time to take the high road.
Years.
And I'm petty. I'm Tom freaking petty. And it's hard. But forgiveness is never for the other person. It is for you.
Exactly.
Just move on, man. Just move on. Karma's a beautiful thing. It does come around. Right? And totally. I've seen it. I've seen it happen more than once. So I'm okay with it. But sometimes it is fun to be petty.
Hey, you got to get it out of your system every now and then. I so agree. Right? With that. Totally.
But yeah, no. So good for you. So you turn your life around, you get on the wellness train, and then what?
Well,
how did that?
Yeah. Well, so a little bit more context. In college, I was also diagnosed with epilepsy. And so I was getting trauma-induced seizures. And that medication actually made me lose even more weight. And I ended up losing 40 pounds in 2 months, really unhealthily. Whoa. Yeah, it was very scary. Almost went to the hospital, and just like that whole situation on the outside looked really bad. And all of my friends were really concerned for me. And my family was really, really concerned for me. But on the inside, I was kind of like, oh, I can wear a crop top and like not have any roll. Like, look at this. This is nice. Like, like I can like wear a swimsuit and not feel bad about myself. Like, like this is new. And I like this. And I kind of kept taking the medication for a little bit longer than I needed to because I wanted to stay that weight. And throughout this whole time, I was also in therapy. And my therapist was really working with me on like, why are you so obsessed with your weight and being so skinny? And I realized in therapy that it really stemmed from all of the bullying that happened when I was a kid. And so through those sessions and through having this conversation and through realizing that forgiveness is really for me, not for the people in my past, that was really the moment where I was like, okay, I have to start taking better care of myself. Sure, I may look great and feel like I look great, but I don't actually feel great. Like I'm hungry all the time. I get hangry and then I get angry at everyone around me and it's hurting my friendships. It's hurting my relationships. Like this is not worth it. And so realizing that had to come first before I could make any of the action steps that I took later on. And that I think really is where the awareness is. Sorry, let me rephrase. That point in my life is why I believe awareness is power and why I do what I do today, because helping people overcome different mindset hurdles can help you do anything that you really want in life. And I experienced that. And so that was really the starting point. And then it took a lot of just honestly dedication in the moments that I wanted to revert back to my old habits. So let's say I was hungry and I knew that I had to eat before I went to class or before I started work or whatever, and I didn't. Like that was a moment of me going, okay, this is a bad old habit, one that I want to change. How can I change it right now? What's my 1% improvement that I can make in this moment that I will feel good about? Maybe it's having an apple. Maybe it's just doing something small, but it's a change and it's a shift. And just building on those 1% improvements. It's why moving 1% forward is my motto, because that's, I feel like, how I got over my anorexia and how I was able to build a business and to start coaching and to start really helping other people.
Yeah, and man, you're preaching to the choir here. I understand everything, right? And you think, I remember being in the hospital, right? I was 84 pounds
For
in the
5'10",
5'10".
yeah, that's
No,
crazy.
I look like my kids called me the Crypt Keeper from like Tales of the Crypt.
Oh,
That
that's
was
harsh.
amazing. That was awesome. But with as I call them slick, the eating disorder, I'm thinking I look amazing.
Exactly.
It's just like you. I could never wear a bikini before. I couldn't wear or I didn't feel comfortable. I'm great. I'm everything. Everyone's looking at me like horrified. I'm looking at them like they got 5 heads. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with you? I remember looking at doctors saying to them in the hospital, they're like, you're sick. And I'm like, what school did you go to? I'm totally fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who says that?
I
Sick
had that
people.
moment too.
So,
totally. And like, it's crazy too. Like, I'll look back at photos of me, like when I was 80 pounds, and like, I can now see that I was just bone. And like, I saw a photo recently of me in a bikini and like, oh my God, my chest bones were just out. Like my rib bones were out. Like I had no butt. I had no curves. Like nowhere to what I look like today, I feel like. And it's just kind of wild how back then I felt like I looked so good and I felt like I looked so healthy. But now that I'm seeing it in a more healthy lens, I'm like, whoa, I was really, I don't want to say delusional because that's like such a negative connotation, but I was definitely tricking.
It's delusional.
I was definitely tricking myself. That's for sure.
Well, when your brain isn't getting food, it's not seeing anything and everything's and I think, and this is what I've learned talking to experts about the anorexia and bulimia and eating disorders, that feeling you get into, it's your body shutting down. So you don't have feelings of anything else. It's only trying to do it's doing 1% to get you through. It's trying to keep your heart going.
It's just
right? Like that's its job today. That's it. You don't get to think, you don't get to do anything. And you get in this euphoric feeling.
Yes.
Because you can't feel anything.
Yes. I actually
and it's weird.
remember that. It was strange. And I remembered thinking that it was a good feeling. Like, oh, this is what being healthy must feel like. Like, this is what, like, all the fitness experts must feel like when they say, like, working out feels good. Like, this is like that. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, it's not that. Now I can see that it's not that because I've gotten myself healthy. And I feel like if I didn't do that transition, I would definitely still be in that frame of mind.
Yeah, and it's so hard to rewire those neural
Oh,
pathways,
yes.
right? And when you have this compulsion to move. And I actually talked to it was recovery mom. I have never been so sick in my life with a cold since
Mm.
starting recovery. When I was in my full depths of an eating disorder, never had a cold. Never, never. And I'm like, what is going on? Why am I going down like the Titanic?
Huh?
And before I went like a good couple years without getting a cold. And
So
she's
interesting.
like, it's because your body's repaired now. It didn't have time to have a cold. Oh. So it's even stuff
Interesting.
like that, a common cold.
Yeah.
Your body's got other shit going on,
Wow.
man.
I had no idea, honestly. I wonder, I'm trying to think, like, I don't remember being that sick, actually. Now that you mentioned that, I'm like, I don't remember getting any colds or anything while like, during that rough period. So that's so interesting that you said that. And what you said earlier also, this, like, about when you're not eating and your brain just doesn't have the fuel to function, and then you start fueling yourself again, and slowly but surely, it's really wonderful actually feeling your body replenish and kind of feeling like, oh, today was a bit easier. And maybe that's because I actually gave my body the nutrition that it needed. And so it wasn't a battle to go through the motions today. Like, that felt good. I want to do that again. And just tuning into what feels good, what does not feel good, and building off of what does feel good, and really analyzing, like, why does this feel good? Does it feel good because of my perception of how I look? Or does it feel good because of my behaviors and how it actually felt internally? And that, I feel like, was a big trick that I was using to help myself rewire those neural pathways, because it really is a challenge to change your thoughts and to change your perceptions and to change your actions. And doing it just 1% at a time is honestly, like, that's how I coach. It's what I practice with every one of my clients, no matter what the situation is, because I feel like it really is just that's the pathway to growth.
Yeah, and I obviously love the 1% better
Yes. No, when
slogan too,
I
right?
saw this
So
podcast,
like
I was
it's
like,
just
blind.
what looking at big picture anytime you're looking at a big picture. No, thank you. Right? Like how am I supposed to go from here to there? Right?
And
Overnight. Like it's not like you can't. You
no,
you
you
can't
can't.
walk from here to California. I
Exactly.
mean, I guess
You
not in
could,
like
but
1
not
hour. I
overnight.
guess no, not at all. Might take me a
Exactly.
couple months.
And I feel like social
But
media also makes us believe that all of this change can happen overnight, because we see people like, oh, I built $1 million business in a month, and like I did this in 2 days, like I blah blah blah. It's like, no, you didn't. Like, let's be honest, you did not do that in a month or 2 days. It was not an overnight success. Nothing is an overnight success. And realizing that kind of makes the journey, takes a little bit of pressure off the journey, because you're like, okay, I don't have to be cured tomorrow. I don't have to make drastic changes tomorrow, today. But I can do a little bit. What's in my power? What's feasible? What's realistic? What makes me feel good? And, like, work off of that. And don't worry about how everyone else seems to magically get everything done so quickly, because it's just honestly a lie.
and God, is that not so true? Right? No one shows you. No one wants to know how the sausage is made. Let's put it
Exactly.
right. Like
Exactly.
there's God, and I'll say it once, I'll say it again. Everyone on social media, except for me and you, are full of shit. So, like, there's nothing true about it. There's not. And same with, like, if you watch, like, makeup tutorials, you think they're all showing you the secrets on how to get that perfect wing eyeliner? No, they're not, right? They're leaving out a couple steps. It's like asking Nona for her spaghetti recipe that she forgot to give you 5 ingredients to,
Oh,
right?
so funny because I feel like you just have to analyze like what's this person's intention? Like, are they getting
Yeah.
sponsored? Are they making money? Like, is there another reason beyond helping people that they're posting? And if there is, then just do your due diligence and make sure that it's content that you resonate with, that supports you, and that doesn't belittle anything that you are going after, because I feel like that is just so common nowadays. And because it's so common, we've gotten used to not really just worrying about it and just like accepting whatever comes our way. And then we get into this overload of information, and then we get so overwhelmed, then we don't act because we get so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And so it's just about being more attentive with who is saying what and why, and does this work for me and my purpose?
And oh, here I go down on that social
Let's
media rant.
go. Let's do it.
But even like when we're talking comparison, right? Because
Mhm.
what really messed me up was there was me and another girl who started eating disorder recovery at the same time.
Mhm.
I started changing pretty much within a minute. The minute I started nourishing my body and chose to eat again and, you know, not die, it didn't take long, my friend. I was gaining and fast.
Yeah.
And yet she wasn't moving. But the one thing I always said I wouldn't do was what I eat in a day, because I didn't want anyone to compare me. I also knew me
Mhm.
and know me, I should say, that when I started my social media account, I was going to be real raw honest.
Right.
And I didn't want to say I ate that and have to come back and say, didn't stick around. Right?
Yeah,
So if I just didn't show anything, then I didn't have, you know what I mean?
totally.
And when there's stick thin girls showing, hey, I ate like all of the Greek restaurant and you're still like this. Huh.
How? What? No, I always get like I definitely have been trying to not let those kind of people make me frustrated, because I feel like as soon as I eat, you can tell I've eaten. I easily gained weight just so quickly when I really started trying to. And now it's kind of like about maintaining a healthy weight and not going back to being chubby, but not going back to interact, like the happy medium, happy middle. And when people can just be so incredibly tiny and then just do whatever they want and not work out and all that stuff, it makes me want to kind of scream and shake them and be like, give me your body. Why can't we do this together? Like, arr. But I've really been working on like, you know what? Good for them. That's great. So happy for them. I I'm just as healthy. Like, and just stopping myself from even going there, because going there is
Yeah.
when I then go downhill. And if I can prevent
Yeah.
myself from just going there, then I won't go downhill. So it's about having that awareness in the beginning of those thought patterns and catching yourself before you get into that spiral, which is not easy and a challenge. And then when you continue practicing that, it does get a little bit easier each and every time. And sometimes you can be in the middle of a downward spiral, but then realize it and realize, like, okay, I got into this spiral because I was thinking this, and because I was comparing myself to this, or because I was angry that this girl had a Big Mac and she is still 90 pounds, and or whatever the reason may be.
Hmm.
And then you can trace it and you can be like, okay, that self-limiting belief is not helping me. It's not serving me. So let me reframe. Let me look at the situation in a different light, in a different way that does empower me. So that way I don't go down this downward spiral anymore. So that way I can actually go up. And that's a process. It's not an overnight process. It takes a long time, but it feels really great when you're able to catch yourself.
And isn't that true, right? Like, yes, I get really like heated and stuff. But at the end of the day, I don't know if it's just because I'm older now or whatever. I could give a shit less what people think of me
Oh,
or
fair.
whatever. I know who I
I
am.
respect
I
that.
know my moral value,
God.
and I know I'm a good person somewhere deep down in there. But it, it's just, it's hard to get yourself out of it though, because
Yeah.
it's hard not to, especially with people with body dysmorphia, body
Mhm.
issues. You don't just eating disorder, disordered eating. It's all wrapped into one, man.
Yeah. And I mean,
So,
it's not like
and
you can get healthy and it's not like the body dysmorphia goes away. Like I still look in the mirror every single day and like, look at my gut and look at my butt and just like try to like see what I can fix in myself. And like I've had to really work on, okay, you've looked in the mirror long enough, you checked out your outfit, now move on. Like now move on.
yeah,
And so it's just like it never really does go away. It's just about not letting it get to you anymore. And yeah, like you said, it's not overnight. It's a long process and it's hard. It's very hard to start that process, which is why support is so key, which is why I think my therapist and just having my friends and family there to help me, guide me, support me, especially my boyfriend. He's really incredible. He'll help me like make meals. We've made meal plans together and like just the way that he's helped me and made me feel okay about it and not ashamed of it has been truly life-changing.
yeah. There's something about, I will say that was very freeing when I came out and said, yeah, I have a anorexia and bulimia, and everyone
Mhm.
else was like not shocked at all. So, but there's something about owning your truth, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I have this disease. This is what it is, right? And I nothing good comes from secrets, man. Secrets kill.
true. Yeah,
And I don't care. I'm an open book clearly because I just talk about all my crap on here.
I love it.
So it there is the freeing part of it.
I so agree.
I I'm so happy for you that you have such great support and with your husband. I also want to touch on something that you said because I
Mhm.
think this is very important. One, when we eat, yes, we do bloat. Everyone bloats. And when you have an eating disorder, you forget that because you're not eating. So
Yeah.
bodies change on a daily basis.
Yes.
So that's a thing.
Oh yeah. And like accepting that and
Yeah.
realizing like this is not like this is not special. Like I'm not unique in that sense. Like my body is the same human body as everyone else. And if I eat pizza and cheese as a lactose intolerant person, like of course I'm going to bloat. Let's just
Why do we all do that? Because I'm like, give me all the cheese.
I know,
And
right? I
then,
love
oh my
cheese.
God, stupid.
That's when I get annoyed that I'm bloated. And it's like, okay, well, hold on, Emily. Let's take a step back
Yeah.
here and maybe analyze why we ate the 3 slices of pizza in the first place. Like, what was that about? Like, maybe we could have just done 1 slice plus some veggies on the side or something. Like, are there adaptations that we could have made? And like, I feel like that has helped me a lot and very much in the same way of like when you take ownership, like saying, I have anorexia, like, okay, you've owned it, and now there's a solution, and now there's a path forward. And honestly, the same kind of thing can happen when you say, okay, I ate 3 slices of pizza, like, and I don't feel good. Okay, well, now I can break it down, and there's a solution, and there's a path forward. And so having that awareness and just declaring it and not being ashamed of it is actually like the Kickstarter to moving forward. And that's why it's so scary because it's so uncertain. We don't know what moving forward looks like. And so we don't often want to take that ownership because then it means a lot of change is coming and change is scary. And a lot of the time, though, change is really empowering too. So just remembering that in these moments is so key.
Change sucks. I
Change
hate
does
change.
suck.
But you have to do it. You have to. You cannot stay where you are if you're ill,
Usually, when
right?
change sucks, I've always found, at least in my life, when change is really, really hard and I just feel like I could kick through a wall or something, something even better is typically on the other side of that. And I have to get through the really low points to reach that high point. And I know I'm not alone in that. I feel like that's such a, not unique story that everybody kind of has, where they fall down, but then they get back up and they go to the top of the mountain. And it's like, okay, remember that too. Remember that there is something bigger and better on the other side that you don't even know of yet because you're not ready for it yet. And when you're ready, it'll come.
Yeah. And so let's talk about that. How do we, as we were talking earlier, looking at the big picture, and now we're doing baby steps
Mm-hmm.
or 1%. How is there, like, do you set up a timeline with your people? Like, because you can stay on step 1 for a while, man. Like, eventually you got to move along. So when do you normally say, hey, time to move to the next step?
That's such a fair question. And I think it really is differing for everybody. And depending on like what people want to move forward in, sometimes you have such an ingrained self-limiting belief that really takes a lot of work to not believe anymore. So that way you can actually believe that you can move forward. So sometimes it is the longest step because it's the most impactful step. And then I feel like when you know you're ready to, okay, the next step is coming, like the next movement needs to be made, I feel like that point is always like, I feel better about what we just moved forward in. I feel better about this self-limiting belief. I'm not 100% there yet, but I feel better. Okay, then build on that. Build on feeling better. You don't have to always have a timeline because at the end of the day, you should be growing every single day. That'll never stop. And so the timeline kind of is just the rest of your life. But let's say you have a goal and you know that you want to, let's say, gain 20 pounds in 6 months or something like that. Then you can break it down. I would honestly recommend breaking it down by 12 weeks. I love quarterly goals. I think that's the best way to go about anything because it's a little bit into the future, but you can still feel it. It's not too far off. You can break it down into 12 weeks and do one action step a week, which is 12 steps. That's a lot. And it doesn't feel so overwhelming because at the end of the day, you're not trying to do like a big yearly goal. You're just trying to do something smaller. And so making your bigger goals smaller is so key. And then even making your smaller goals even smaller with action steps, that's really the process that I go through with all my clients. So the timeline always differs, but that 12-week process is my standard.
I love that. Make your small goals even smaller because when it doesn't matter what you accomplish, I don't care if you cleaned your kitchen. You feel, look, I did something.
Exactly.
Right? But if you're thinking, oh, I got to go mow the lawn and clean the kitchen and vacuum and everything else, right? Like, too much. But you make your small goals even a little bit smaller and we feel so good. We feel so good when we accomplish something. Yes. I love that.
I'll give you an example, just one that I'm personally doing for myself right now. I honestly recently pulled my lat on the side of my body and ow. I know. It's been very painful. I'm not going to lie. It hurts to cough, sneeze, laugh, all the things. And sleep has been kind of a nightmare. I have not been sleeping through the night. I've been waking up a bunch. And now that I'm on the tail end of this injury and I can start sleeping through the night, at least almost sleeping through the night now, I want to start like waking up and doing yoga and doing my workout routine like that I was doing before I injured myself. And so instead of going back to the routine that I had before, because that's my goal at the end of the day, I'm going to slowly 5-minute increments wake up at that time. So right now I'm waking up at like 6:30. My goal is to wake up at 5:45. So tomorrow I will set an alarm for 6:25. And then for the next week, I will continue setting that alarm for 6:25 until 6:25 doesn't feel like such a battle. And then I'll make it 6:20. And then I'll do a week of that. And then I'll make it 6:15. And then I'll just keep going until it feels more manageable and until I get to my 5:45 mark. And so just breaking it down like that and not making it feel so stressful is honestly the way that most of my clients have been hitting their goals, because they don't feel so overwhelmed. And they're saying like, oh, well, if I could do this for every goal, then I would hit all of my goals. And it's like, yeah, you can. You just need to break it down a little bit more.
Well, let me know how 5:45 works out for you there, my friend.
I'm an early bird. I love working out in the morning.
No,
it's my thing. So I'm craving it. I can't wait to do it again.
I'm good at 5:45 when it's sunny here, which is never. So in the summer is fine. In the winter, Matt,
no, it's tough.
It's just so dark.
I know, exactly.
But you live in California, so
you
can handle it.
An alarm clock light though that's like a sunlight. So even when it is dark in the morning, I'm still like at least waking up to the sunlight. It might be fake sunlight, but it's sunlight.
No way.
Yeah, I'll send you a link to it.
I think I need that.
Yeah,
because I always say this too. Like, I think I would be a really nice person if I lived in California or Arizona or somewhere with sun all the time. Like, I would be Mary fucking Poppins. And the vitamin D is such a big deal. Like, so getting out and I can see how that whoever invented that alarm clock's a freaking genius.
Mm-hmm.
I can see how that like could start your day because you're already feeling good.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And it's hard to feel good when you're sitting in shit.
Yeah, totally. And so just like having these smaller things around you in place that'll nudge you to do the thing that you want to do is honestly life-changing, because I don't think I enjoyed getting up and working out before work until I got that alarm clock. Because then I was like, oh, this isn't so bad. It's not as dark as I thought it was. Like, look at this. I can do this. And it helped me, and it helped me reach my goal. And so it's never a bad idea to like see like what tools, apps, whatever the case may be is out there that can support you. Because at the end of the day, you can't do everything alone. You cannot, whether it's like waking up to work out or overcoming anorexia or starting a business, whatever the case may be, you can never do it alone. And that's okay. You're not supposed to be doing it alone. So using the things around you to help you and to nudge you is so key.
And I love this. I love community.
Yeah.
I love guides. I love experts. I love anyone who wants to help anyone else and help them through. Like, that's like my perfect world. I know it's not like that for everybody. People like stepping on each other. I don't like that stuff, right? That's not who I am. I do my best to encourage everyone and support everyone. And if you're doing good, if we're friends and you're doing good, then I'm doing good. Yeah. I'm happy for, like, it makes way more sense in my head, but hey, that's me. So can you explain to me, because I was watching some of your videos, what does eating the frog mean?
Oh, I love this question because it's such a weird term. Eat the frog. Like, what the hell is that? So eating the frog is actually one of my favorite productivity hacks that I truly practice every single day. And all it means is that you do your toughest task first. Whatever you are dreading, whatever you're procrastinating, whatever you just don't want to do, get it done first thing. So that way it's off your plate and you're no longer worrying about it. It no longer is causing dread, procrastination, all those negative emotions that we can get. And so that way, the rest of the day feels 10 times easier because you got the really tough thing done. Nothing's going to be as challenging as that one thing. So then it's kind of like a breeze. And so I love practicing that. And I always try to have my clients practice that as well. And I've noticed that it's really the one trick that has consistently boosted everybody's productivity, no matter what situation they're in.
I love that.
Yeah. It's like such a great tool, and you can really apply it to anything. Like, I'll use it on the weekends often, and I don't love cleaning. I just don't. But I will wake up Saturday morning or Sunday morning, and if I have to clean something, I will just do it then and there. first thing. So that way it's just off my plate. And so I can enjoy the rest of the weekend and I don't have to worry about going to go clean the bathroom or whatever it may be. So you can really apply it to any case. And something that I actually applied it to that I think was really, really helpful in overcoming anorexia was meal planning. I hated the concept. I didn't enjoy the idea. I don't know why. It just really, maybe it's because I was anorexic and just not wanting to deal with food, but that probably had a lot to do with it. But eventually I started, okay, just on Sundays, the beginning of my week, I am just going to outline everything that I am okay with eating this week. Everything that I can outline snacks, 4 or 5 meals, a couple lunches, dinners, and just have this list ready to go. So then that way the rest of my week feels a lot easier. I can just go refer to that list, make whatever is on that list, or if it's already meal planned, which I did on Sunday, it's ready to go. And it causes a lot less dread and anxiety and overwhelm throughout the rest of my week because I already handled it. And so there's a lot of different applications that you can use, which is why I think it's one of the best tricks in the toolbox. And I strongly suggest everybody listening, try it out tomorrow.
Well, for sure. Like, yeah, I God, you even say meal prep, and I'm like, uh-oh. But
right?
yeah. But it has to be done. And did you go to the grocery store yourself and get all this stuff, or did you have someone go with you? Because I always talk about my grocery store incidents, crying, panic attacks, all the lovely fun stuff.
God. I hate the grocery store, and I've always hated it. I feel like I actually liked it when I was younger, and then in college, I hated going. Post-college, I hated going. And I moved in with my boyfriend about a year ago now. And one of the things that he is such a saint about is going to the grocery store for us. So he'll go, I'll actually make the list. He'll go and do it. And then he'll come back and then I'll unload and do the whole thing. So we've worked it out so that way I don't have to do the part that I hate doing. And he doesn't mind it, which is great for me, honestly. But before this, I honestly, like when I lived by myself, I would not go to the grocery store. And that was something that like made me cry and have panic attacks and freak out all of the time. Or I would be like opening my empty fridge, seeing that there's nothing to eat, and then getting angry and crying and getting so mad at myself because I didn't go to the grocery store earlier in the week or whatever the case may be. And it was just this constant cycle of self-hatred, of really just ragging on myself and not supporting myself. And moving in with my boyfriend made me realize like going to the grocery store and doing groceries and meal prep, it's not about me, really. It's more just about making life easier later on. And separating myself from the food and separating myself from the groceries and all of that has been so helpful because then I've been able to like catch myself a lot easier and been able to say, okay, it's just groceries. It's not me. It's not my identity. It's not who I am. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Like, let me go to the store right now. Let me just go fix this. Let me go solve this. And so having that separation has been able to like empower me and give me the room to make these changes. But I agree, grocery stores have been the devil to me, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of videos about me in the grocery store. Poor grocery store people. But you know what? Because I'm a mom and everything, like, and we're at 2 separate stages in life, right? I make big meals and whatever. Fair. But I love this because it is hard, like coming out of eating disorders. If you just grab your meal, it's done. It's done. You don't have to think about it. Yes, it's going to be a lot right at the moment, but if you have someone with you, turn on some music, whatever, talk to yourself, do what you got to do, get it done, put it in the fridge. You know what's great? And they should sponsor me for this because they're not a sponsor. HelloFresh. I don't know what it's called in the States, but
Yep.
you know those like meal kits that come?
You know, I've never actually tried one, but HelloFresh is in the States. There's a bunch. There's so many. Have you tried it? I want to hear your experiences. Do you think it's great?
No, I haven't because I just haven't done it.
Yeah, same.
I just haven't.
I mean, honestly,
I've known a lot of people. I've known a lot of people to do it.
Yeah, and everyone I hear
I've never.
It. I know. Maybe it's just because.
Hey, HelloFresh.
I know, right?
Come sponsor some people here.
Even though we haven't tried it. But
well, hey, that's how you get people.
We'll try it now. But I do actually enjoy cooking, which is so funny because like I would literally even like cook and not always like make or eat what I made, but like I just love the act of cooking. And I think I grew up watching like the Food Network and the Cooking Channel and like all the food competitions with my mom, and it's just kind of like my happy place in a way. So I do enjoy the act of cooking itself. Now, mind you, maybe once a week, twice a week at max, like I will do that, and everything else is kind of just like frozen Trader Joe's meals and like making it really easy for me to be able to go in and not think. Because that's honestly the key, is being able to open your fridge and not having to go down the cycle of what should I eat? Oh my God, that'll make me bloat. That'll make me da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And like you can get into that cycle. So have it prepped ahead of time to prevent you from going down that road has been really, really changing for just my meal habits. I think that's been the most effective for. Like I'm actually having lunch every day, and like I wasn't doing that before, and like I'm actually having pretty decent breakfast, and I definitely wasn't doing that before. So just the ease of it and the not thinking about it has been so incredibly beneficial.
Well, when you don't, people aren't supposed to panic around food, just in case no one ever like told you this, right? Like, because we come from that world, right? Panic. Yep. And it doesn't help your cortisol levels and your stomach, because when you're panicking and you don't want to bloat, guess what's happening? You're bloating, because that's where everything goes. It's just a thing, right? So to make everything just so much easier when you can stress about things that need to be stressed about, food's not one of, like, you shouldn't have to be scared of lunch, right?
Yeah. No, and then like it's crazy. Like thinking about like the fact that I remember when I first had like a freak out with my boyfriend for the first time about food, his face and his reaction to me freaking out about what's in the fridge or not in the fridge. I remember that face, and I remember him thinking, he was probably thinking to himself like, this bitch is crazy. Like what the hell is going on? Like, this is not a big deal. But he was very calm, cool, and collected and helped me through it. And then afterwards, he was like, okay, this is something you really have to work on, because we cannot do this every time it's mealtime. Like you can't cry every time it's mealtime. We have to understand what you like, what you don't like, and what's easy for you, so that way life is easy for you. And having him tell me that and say that, and then also having him say like, what can I do? Like, how can I help you in doing this with you? Like, that was so like, made me fall in love with him all over again, personally. But just so like freeing. I think that's a great word to say, because it really was like, oh, okay, it's not all on my shoulders anymore.
And yeah, that's awesome. When someone with, I don't know, a nourished brain looks at you and says, hey, this isn't normal.
Yeah.
But how can I help you? Yeah. What can I do? That is the best thing anyone can ever say to anybody. Even like if you're listening and you are a parent of someone with an eating disorder, that's the best thing to say. How can I help you? How can I make this easier on you?
Exactly.
Right? Like,
and I
It's just,
honestly didn't have an answer for him at first. It took me a while to figure out how he could help me. I remember answering like, I don't know. I don't even know how I can help myself, like much less how you can help me. Like, I'll let you know. Like, and I thought about it and I reflected and I was like, how can he help me? And then I realized it was the act of going to the grocery store that genuinely freaked me out and that made food somehow this big bad wolf. And I just needed to remove that from my own environment. And he was willing to take that up for me. So just like, you don't always have to answer right away. Know that too. Like, no. And if you're asking somebody, it's okay if they don't give you an answer right away either. Like, continue, like maybe in a couple weeks, come back and ask them again, and just continue showing that support because people might not always be ready to accept it, but they do need it.
yeah. No, and that's true. And try to find an answer with your brain not being you'll have a better conversation with a wall at this point, right? I'll just tell you. So patience is key. Patience is
So
key.
key.
You know,
So
and
key. So true.
and this wasn't around up until a couple years ago, though. Too. Now I'm thinking about grocery shopping. That Instacart, you guys have that in
Oh,
the States, right? Where the
yep.
people just go and pick out your groceries for you and you just go to the parking lot. I like grocery shopping now. I find it cathartic for some stupid
I
reason,
love
even
that.
though I have a heart attack because of the prices.
I know.
But oh my God. When you're talking about Trader Joe's, we don't have Trader Joe's in Canada, right? And I'm on like
sorry.
Trader Joe TikTok and I'm like, man, oh man, that's what the Canadians leave here for is Trader Joe's.
I love Trader
It's
Joe's.
so
I don't
funny.
know how I would do life without Trader Joe's. I'm not gonna lie. So if you ever need any shipped to you, just let me know.
Oh my gosh, right? Well, that's far ship.
I know.
Like we have Real Canadian Superstore, which is very similar
Cool.
to Trader Joe's. They have their own stuff,
Yeah.
but it's not, they got nothing on Trader Joe's. I don't think so anyway, right? But that's my opinion.
I mean, using
Trader
the
Joe's.
like frozen meals and all of that from Trader Joe's was the like starting point of me having meals again, honestly. So
Yeah.
shout out to Trader Joe's for being there for me when I needed them the most.
Shout out Trader Joe's.
Love them.
Yeah, because and then that's even more. If you don't want to go to the grocery store and you can't do it right now, if you're me having a panic attack crying in the grocery store, then food's food, man. If it's pre-made, take it and take it from Trader Joe's.
Totally. Or even just like
I'm
love
just
that
gonna
you
keep
mentioned
saying
like,
that over and over again.
I also love that you just mentioned like Instacart too, and just like Amazon delivery will like deliver groceries now as well. So there are a lot more options out there. Granted, a lot of these options cost some more money, so you always have to take that into account as well. But at least knowing that it's not all on your shoulders and it doesn't have to be all on you, that alone provides so much freedom and provides like, oh, I can breathe again because I have options. And having options is truly just so like essential for growth, I think.
Well, and that's exactly where the 1% would come in, right? Because if I had a brain in my head, I would have thought of this to do like get other people to pick the groceries for me. But yeah, maybe you can't do it all the time. But say you do it for a month and then eventually you can go in there. And because you're taking the scary parts, the food and the overwhelming of the grocery store and all the thoughts and feelings. So eventually like you'll get there.
Yes.
Right?
I love that.
I love this 1% thing, man.
I mean, it really is how I live my life. I recently, I would say within the last like 3 weeks, started also asking myself, okay, what is my 1% today? So like each morning I'll ask myself, what's my 1% today? How am I pushing myself a little bit farther than I did yesterday? And for me today, that was getting up a little bit earlier, even though my lat was hurting and I did not want to go do yoga. And it was dark outside and I did not feel like it. My bed was so warm and cozy. My dog was cuddling with me. I did not want to get up. But I asked myself, no, this is my 1% today. Like I can do this. And I did it. And so having that question in the back of my mind has been really helpful in just pushing myself and getting myself excited also about doing the 1% improvements.
That's everything. My 1% is, no, I can't say it. Don't
She's
murder
been
anyone today, Heather.
clawing at my legs like for the last 5
Oh,
minutes.
hello, puppy.
Little baby.
So I guess that would tie into my next question would be, how do we find our motivation? But if we're getting on this 1%, it's very easy to get that motivation train, start chugging along.
Totally. I think building on momentum is such a key component to motivation. But how do you even get started? Right? Like sometimes we don't even have the motivation to do that 1%, to get that momentum building. So what do you do in those moments? Honestly, I always love creating a vision and just literally writing out a story of what you want life to be like, or your goal or your situation to be like in either 6 months or a year from now. How would your life look different if you actually did the thing that you want to do? What would happen? What benefits do you get? And list it out, write a story. Make it in present tense like it's actually happening right now. And then close your eyes, visualize it, and actually see it in detail. See it happening and coming to life in your head. And that's so key because it's kind of like a dress rehearsal for our brain in a way. And so it makes it a little bit less uncertain, and it kind of provides a roadmap for how we're going to achieve that goal and achieve that vision. So having a vision and starting any goal off with a vision, I find to be the boost that we always need for our motivation.
And when you write something down,
Yeah,
it's a little bit more real.
totally. Absolutely.
It's like writing in a diary. It's exactly what happened today. If you're writing in your diary, you're writing what happened today. So it's actually happened. If you write it down, it's happened.
And the vision is literally the same exact concept. Like just write it down as if it's already happening or happened, and then review it. Keep that vision fresh in your mind every single day, whether it's reading over your story, whether it's closing your eyes and visualizing it every day, however you want to do it, just make sure that it's at the forefront of your mind, because that's what gets you excited about actually making those 1% improvements, because you have something that you're working towards and you know what that is. There's no more uncertainty there. There's actually just pure, like, your goal is waiting for you. Your alignment is waiting for you. And that to me is what I always kind of need to find my motivation again.
And yes, it is hard. Like, shout out to everyone fighting a battle I know nothing about. It is hard. Like, there's days where it's just like thinking of having a shower is swimming the English Channel, right? Like, it's hard.
Totally.
But that's where I always say, like, I give myself for a high five if I had a shower, and I don't
I love that.
in any way, shape, or form want to, right? Because
hey, there's nothing too small to
right?
celebrate.
Life happens.
Exactly. I mean, being proud of yourself when you do make these 1%, and when you do something that you were dreading or procrastinating, being proud of yourself, man, is just, it feels damn good, and it feels really good to follow through. And it feels really good to say, like, I wanted to do that and I did it. And look at me now. And like that just right there can be motivation enough, honestly, sometimes, depending on what your situation is.
I say it all the time, be your own cheerleader, which sucks because it's hard. It's hard being on a team for one.
Yeah.
But you are the team captain. You are the MVP. You are the VIP. You're it, man. And high five,
Exactly.
and
no, I love that. It's so key. I always, at the end of every day, I always write down what my wins were, just to like be proud of myself and to acknowledge like the growth that I did today. And sometimes like a win might be like, I didn't cry. Like, I actually ate lunch. Like, it doesn't have to be something like I got a new client or I booked a speaking gig. Like, it doesn't have to be something crazy. Actually, the more empowering ones are the ones that are the habits that you want to do, but just haven't really been doing. And when you actually do it, acknowledge it. Say, hell yeah, I did that. And that feels really good that I did that. And I'm going to do it again tomorrow. And writing that down, and just whether it's like, I always write down like daily wins, happy face, heart, like whatever, and just like list it out. And, in my bullet journal, make it fun and pretty and however works for me, because that's what brings a smile to my face. And maybe for you, it's like having a notes list in your phone and adding it there. Like, it doesn't have to look the same for everybody, but making sure that you do give yourself the time to acknowledge yourself is absolutely so key for motivation, for productivity, goal achievement, moving forward, really just any type of growth.
I think our list is the same. I didn't cry in the grocery store.
Yeah, literally.
I came home. I'll never forget the day I went to the grocery store and didn't cry or have a panic attack.
Such a proud day.
My husband, right? I'm like, I didn't cry. I didn't cry. Look. I even got groceries. He's like, what are all those? I'm like, groceries, because I didn't have to leave. Right?
Amazing. That's awesome. Yay. No, that's such a proud moment.
Yeah. And so got over that yeah. Like I say, other than the prices, I'm okay. I'm okay.
So fair. Lordy.
So one last thing before we wrap up.
Yeah.
Let's talk the Sunday scaries. Do you want to explain what that is?
Oh my gosh. Sunday scaries, honestly, can be such a downer. Sunday scaries are they typically happen on Sundays, but I also find that they can happen every day of the week. It doesn't matter if it's a Sunday or not. But it's when you're just nervous and anxious about the work that's coming up, whether it's like a big meeting that you have. Maybe you actually haven't checked your schedule, so you don't know what's coming up. And, there's could be a whole load of reasons, but it's that feeling of, oh, tomorrow, and then it bleeds into your night. You typically don't sleep well because you're a little bit anxious about the day, and then you start the day off anxious, and it just no fun. And so how do you really get over that? I find as a productivity coach, I love a good planner, and I actually have a planner that I designed up on my website, and that's what I use to outline my week and to just outline my Monday. So every Friday, I end my week by outlining Monday through Friday for the next week and deciding what tasks I'm going to be doing when, outlining my meetings so I know it's upcoming. And then I also specifically in detail outline Monday. So then that way, as soon as Monday morning hits, I already know. I'm not worried about what's coming up. And if I needed to prep for anything, I had the weekend to prep. And it feels just really like I'm on top of it. And like nothing can kind of throw me off track because I know what my track is. And so that to me has been one of the more routines that I've put in, I should say rituals that I put into my routine to help me overcome those Sunday scaries. Because I think as an entrepreneur, I can constantly be anxious about what's coming up. And I needed a way to stop that. I needed a way to like have my weekends and not be worried about work and what's coming up later on. And so I created this planner and the system in order to be able to do that and to be able to say, okay, this is what I have, and now I'm letting it go, and I'm enjoying my weekend, and I'm having work-life balance, and I am practicing that because that's important to me.
And it just makes everything so much, right?
Yeah.
It's so easy. If you're a high-strung person like me, work yourself up, and like Sunday, I don't know what is Sunday. Sundays are just never work so well for me. And
you're not alone in that for sure.
It's so, it can get overwhelming.
Yeah.
Very, very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Because it's like the first day. It's kind of like the reset day for a lot of people, right? And there's almost this pressure to reset. And this pressure to be like, okay, I have to get ready for the upcoming week. I have to be on top of my game. And like, I strongly believe Sundays should be a day for relaxation and doing the things that help you, that support your week, you know? So whether that is outlining your week, whether it's meal planning or, spending time with family or taking a nap or whatever the case may be, it's about setting yourself up for success, really, at the end of the day, which is why I find that planning my Monday ahead of time can help me do that because I'm not stressed about what's coming up.
And there's also a thing of, oh gosh, I'm so sorry. If you know you're going to walk into your job on Monday and it's going to suck, and it sucked for the last 5 years you've been doing this, why stress about it? You already know it's going to suck. You might as well have a good Sunday.
I mean, honestly,
right?
That's true too. Totally. It's like, don't give your power away to things that are not in your control, and take your power back. Own your Sundays. Enjoy them. Make them about recouping and building yourself up again and enjoying. Like, if you don't enjoy your job and you don't enjoy Monday through Friday, then you better do something you enjoy on Sunday and Saturday. So that way the week feels a little bit more manageable and you have something to look forward to or remember and enjoy.
Yeah, because I always bring my poor dysfunctional family into everything because we put the fun in dysfunctional. I've now just learned why am I expecting a different outcome? These are my people. They are all crazy like me. Why am I thinking we're going to be sane? It's not going to happen. Right? A giraffe is never going to be a lion. Yeah. It's just the way it is. Right? Totally. So
that's so
there's
funny.
something about just surrendering.
Yeah, no, there totally is. In a way, it's almost like sometimes surrendering can be like taking your power back, because it's like, you know what? I'm not going to, okay, a good example. Yesterday, my boyfriend and I were driving in traffic and he got so angry at some guy who cut us off or whatever. And, I feel like that's really common, right? And then I was kind of just like, hey, why are you letting that driver ruin your time and take your power away from this amazing conversation we were just having and from this, we were listening to music, having a good vibe, and don't let that driver ruin this. That's not what this is about. He's like, you know what? You're right. Okay, I'm not gonna allow that to ruin my time with you because at the end of the day, I can't control what he's doing. If he's gonna be an asshole and cut me off, he's gonna be an asshole and cut me off. End of discussion. Nothing I can change there. I'm like, exactly. So as you were saying, let's continue what we were doing before and have a lovely conversation. And sometimes we just need to do that in the larger scheme of things as well.
And that someone once said to me, Heather, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy?
Oh, yeah.
The answer always is, well, I want to be right. That's not the right answer. No, I want to be happy. Being right lasts for 1 microsecond. Being happy lasts for a lifetime.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. And sometimes, I have to admit, sometimes feeling right can make me happy, but that doesn't last.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're going to piss off some other people. We know we're right, but we're going to choose that.
Hey, as long as you know it, I think there's also a little bit of ownership of being like, hey, I know I'm right. You can say whatever and think whatever you want. I'm confident in myself and I'm good to go.
Yeah. And just like in traffic, there's always going to be some asshole that's going to cut you off. No one knows how to drive. Doesn't matter what country you live in, right? There's always one,
Always.
And if you have the magnetic, like I do, they just find you. But, you got to know your role at the end of the day.
Yeah. And you also have to take ownership.
I'm with you there.
Yeah, totally. And taking ownership of your happiness too and your power, I think, is just so key.
Hey, you can't fix stupid, right? That's got me a long way in life. Just thinking that, okay. You can't fix stupid.
Let it go.
Right? Let it go. Just like Elsa. I love Frozen. I love Frozen. Well, my friend, I can't believe we talked for this long, and thank you so much. Will you come back? I think
Oh my
we
God.
could talk and talk and talk and talk.
Anytime. Every time.
So where can we find you?
Yes.
All over social media.
All over social media. I'm the same handle across the board from LinkedIn, TikTok, Pinterest, Instagram. It's at The Productivity Flow. And then my website for my blog, coaching, and to sign up for my text messages is theproductivityflow.com.
Oh, thanks, doll. Thanks so much for coming. I can't wait for you to come back.
Thank you so much for having me. This was such a fun conversation. I truly enjoyed my time here.
Aw, it's because I'm Canadian. I'm nice. No.
You crack me up. Oh my God. Love it.
That's all for this episode of 1% Better. To continue the conversation, head over to our website at www.1percentbetter.ca, where you can access more stories and resources. We'd also love it if you subscribed and left us a review on your favorite podcast platform. And remember, friends, progress takes patience, perspective, and sometimes a little help from people who get it. So be kind to yourself and others as we work to get 1% better every day. We'll see you back here next week.